Thank you for joining us at Indie Agency News. And we're going to start with this.
Some things just feel good. Like this. And like spending less for quality supplements from now. Feel good spending less with Now.
That was a fun bit of work. Let's meet an indie agency, and I'm welcoming our friends in both Milwaukee and Chicago, Chris and Stacie from Hanson Dodge. First off, let's start off with that work because I will say that there are some categories that can be extraordinarily challenging. I'm thinking like, Illinois State Lottery or Wisconsin State Lottery, right? This is not a category that's necessarily easy to crack. And sometimes it's just difficult. So to be able to see something really fun and refreshing is great. And I think, I've seen a bit more of the work for that particular brand that you work with. And it opens up, it illuminates it a little bit more. So kudos on some very fun work for a very challenging category.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was one of those things where you look at what's going on in the category and there's a lot of green and nature and hikes,
Right.
jogging and yoga and smoothies. And we're like, well, we're different. Now's a different brand because they're all about like really high, like on delivering the best thing for the best price. So they're different. They should be different in the category too. And they need to stand out.
Yeah, no, that's really a lot of fun. So welcome both of you. Chris, you are in Milwaukee. Stacie, you are in Chicago. I've already mentioned the name of the agency. I've already mentioned where you're located. So tell me when the agency was founded and what you would say the agency is best known for.
Very good. We were founded 35 years ago, as far as any records can be found. And we've really been taking the company on a new trajectory over the last 3-4 years. But at its core, it always was really strong design. And then the company skated to where the puck was going as digital emerged. So now we are a very, we are full service, deeply digital ad agency.
Got it. Okay. I love it. Nice and clean. What would you say? You touched on a couple of things, but what would you say are your top 3 core strengths? I mean, agencies are very good at a lot of things, but I always like to hone in on 3 that's like, yeah, these are 3 things that we know consistently that we just knock out great.
Yeah. First of all, I would say brand positioning, getting to really strong brand foundations for clients, really strong strategy. It's the foundation for everything we do. Secondly, design. And when I say that, not just artistic design, but also design of user experiences, because we have a whole group that builds full-on websites, large multi-million-dollar websites for clients. We have devs in-house that work really closely with experienced designers and visual designers. So that's probably the third. And then a more newly emerging area for us is we've really built out our media practice, but at the core of that is performance marketing.
Okay.
And really driving to the buy button.
Yeah, and there's a lot of clutter in that space for sure. So yeah, it definitely is a great addition to the mix for sure. Let's talk a little bit about why you love being in indie. So let's start with the agency. Let's start with the team. Why is it so important to your team to be independent?
Really, it comes down to playing the long game, and that's maybe management, but really, being about our people and about our clients and not having to worry about the short term, quarterly results, but playing the long game. And so, that evidence of that in COVID times, when obviously there were some natural cutbacks, we held staff. We completely held staff, and we used that time to give people more time to grow and learn. And then we also made a bet to invest in our media practice, which then paid off as everything shifted online and our performance marketing was more and more needed. But it is that long-term view and the investment in people, putting people first.
Right. Chris, maybe you can address this one. Why is being an indie important for clients? I mean, you're coming at it from the creative lens. Why would you say that independence is important for clients?
I think the flexibility is a big part of that. And I think also the idea that we can adapt and change. And, you know, a lot of our clients are sort of like family owned founder brands that, you know, they're used to getting their rolling their sleeves up and jumping in. And that's what we do too. So a good mix.
A nice little Midwestern trait, shall we say.
Rolling up the sleeves.
Yep, indeed. Now, you know, an important piece of this is understanding what brands should know about working with you, because obviously when you're an agency, you're able to share your portfolio, you're able to share your work, but sometimes what gets lost a little bit is the why a brand should choose to work with your agency. So what is the main reason that a brand should work with you?
You know, our mantra that we codified about 3 years ago is helping good people and brands make the next great leap. So that lets us work across categories, and we do, but it lets us sort of ferret out. Our folks, do they want a longer term partnership? We will take project work, but always with an eye towards a longer term partnership, simply so we can have impact. And then do they want to do business in a way that's win-win and fair, and be courageous and kind with each other? And then are they ambitious? Are they looking to make the next great leap? If they want status quo, they should not go for us.
Sometimes it can be hard to say no, but the reality is that can have short and long-term ramifications for sure. Chris, I want to ask you this one. Again, this is still staying in the line of what brands should understand about the agency. What have you learned from the brands that you work with? And again, I love this idea of looking at it through the creative lens, because you know, you're in the soup every day.
Oh man. I mean, I think the brands, the good people and brands that I've worked with, I think trust is a big part of what I've learned from people, and gratitude and understanding. Like that's a big thing. I think when you're indie, it's personal, you know, it's not like the leadership isn't somewhere off. They're like right there with you. And so I think that idea of like trust and collaboration, and I think some other brands that I've worked with in different ways, different capacities along the way, I learned how to appreciate the good people and brands that build that trust. And, you know, so yeah, I think there's a lot about trusting each other, and, you know, and I think this idea of like, it's person to person is a big part of it.
Right. I want to take a moment to talk about talent now. And again, I'd mentioned at the front end of this, Chris, you're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Did you know that there's a Milwaukee, Oregon?
Yes,
it's spelled a little bit differently. Yes, Stacie, there's a little trivia for you. It's K-I-E, not K-E-E. So it's a east side suburb of Portland. So there you go. There's your trivia for the day. But being a native Midwesterner myself, Minneapolis area, Milwaukee's an amazing city, and Wisconsin's a great state, even though as a Minnesotan, I'm not supposed to say that. And then of course, you know, everybody in this industry knows, you know, Chicago. And I love the fact that there is that connective tissue between Chicago and Milwaukee. A lot of young talent will want to start in Los Angeles, or they want to go to New York, or they want to go do this, or they want to go do the other thing, which is great. And, you know, again, Chicago is one of those destinations that a lot of people, a lot of young talent, new talent look for. But why should talent put you on their list? Why should talent say, you know what, I'm kind of feeling this Milwaukee thing?
You want to, you know, I'll talk about Milwaukee. You get to Milwaukee. I came here 25 or so years ago. I'm from Nebraska, and I thought I'll give it a year or two, and I'm going to go to LA or New York. Why am I going to be here? And Milwaukee sucks you in, and you fall in love with Milwaukee, and the rest of the story is just.
It's really true.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, it's the same in Chicago too, though.
Yeah. Milwaukee is wonderfully random. It sounds like you know it, but it is wonderfully random. And that's a quality of the agency as well. So, attracting talent has gotten easier and easier. I don't know if you're aware, we had a three-peat this year of winning best places to work for agencies of our size and ad age.
Oh, right on.
And that's from, you probably know, that's 75% of our people responding to anonymous survey. So it's all them voting for the culture that they've created. And it's pretty wacky. We have a Monday morning meeting every single Monday. I can't believe an agency gets everybody there at 8:30 every Monday to meet, all staff. And what happens in that meeting is some work, but a lot of play. One time we did human curling with
do I want to know what that is?
Push.
But that was a way to advertise that we were doing all company curling, and we were actually going to an actual curling place to go curling that week. Yeah, that's just an example. It's really it's wacky. We have Weenie Wednesday. People take turns. We have like a legitimate. Chris bought it for the agency, a legitimate hot dog roller. And people bringing in ingredients and trying to surprise each other with all the ways that you can dress a hot dog. It's a lot of silliness. But then, then some really good work is getting done. And just this idea of letting people do the best work of their career is truly an intention.
Right. Well, if it is Wisconsin too, so if you did curling, there has to be speed skating in there somewhere, because that's America's speed skating hotbed. For sure.
The headquarters here, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you mentioned Nebraska, Chris. Which county number are you? I remember one is Omaha. I forget what Grand Island was.
They're 8.
They're 8. Okay.
I'm North Platte. We were 15.
Oh, so you're over by Colorado. Okay, got it. Okay, all right. There, a little brief aside there, a little Nebraska for everybody there. Now, this is a little bit of a fun question. So the idea behind this is whether it's a client you work with or it's a marketer or a CMO that you want to wave to and say hello to, putting it out into the universe is always a good thing, right? Who is a CMO or a marketer that you want to say hi to? And you have 2 of these, so it doesn't have to be one. You both get a chance at this one.
I've got one, and his name is Eric Schwartz, and he's the CMO of Clorox now. And I'm so pleased to say that I knew him when he was younger and a fast growing, hotshot at Henkel, which is Dial in the US. I worked really closely with them. He was just someone that was a pleasure to work with at that time and a joy to watch grow. And then he's gone on to, continue to climb. And he was a risk taker, and he's a great businessman. And that's who I'd say hello to. I've lost touch.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll try to get him in touch. All right, Chris, you.
Well, I thought about this. I thought, what brand do I love? And basically, I love Coca-Cola. So that's way too high for us probably at this point.
What do you mean? No.
Well, I mean, maybe there's a project in there somewhere, of course.
Yeah.
But I did ask my team who they loved. And I'm going to go with, a very smart and talented ACD said, Ben & Jerry's with David Stevers from Ben & Jerry's was her choice. So David, if you want to work with a really great ACD, right here.
In America's Dairyland, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
the custard thing versus ice cream thing around here, you got to be careful.
That's true.
That's okay. That's okay. That's called product development. Well, Stacie and Chris, thank you so much for joining us. Always great to catch up. Appreciate you taking the time, and we wish you the very best. Keep doing that great work. Keep it rolling for the North. I keep saying Northwest. I'm up here, the Midwest, my ancestral home of the Midwest, and we wish you the best of success moving forward. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, and you're welcome to come do human or real curling anytime.
Or any Wednesday you're in town.
I will take you up on that. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.